after over 4 hours of testimony with well over 100 speakers, with well over 100 different opinions, we would do well to reflect a moment on what we've heard. And what we heard was quite divergent, but I would have to guess that the majority of the people we heard from expressed some concern that what is proposed so far may be too much. And yet I don't feel we need to kill the process, as some people suggested. I actually think public process is the answer. I also don't feel it's right to move forward unthinkingly at this point. I think we have to build consensus before we build. And the question to my mind that requires the consensus here is can we revitalize Bergamot without overdeveloping it and inadvertently killing it? So my thinking has returned to the creative capital policies that Ms. Corman, I think it was, mentioned several hours ago now. And we passed more than several years ago. I think it was 2007 or 2008. And then the recession hit, and we never actualized those plans. But the creative capital document was really a good blueprint for what we wanted to do with culture and the arts in our community. And I don't think in any way it conflicted with the Luce or with the Bergamot Area Plan. And it has to be incorporated into our thinking specifically now as we look at the Bergamot Arts Center. I think we can and should and probably must improve Bergamot, but we have to do it without destroying it and without replacing it and without losing its authenticity. The reality is we need additional revenue-generating features on that site to subsidize the arts and to provide ongoing funding for the Big Blue Bus. And every time we talk about the coming of light rail to town, I hope we recognize the role the Big Blue Bus is going to have to play in getting us from our homes to the rail stations, because park and ride may not be the answer. Park and ride may serve people from farther away, but do we want that traffic coming through our neighborhoods? So I like the idea of our moving forward, and I very much like the idea suggested to us of the formation of a working group, and I think that could be a wonderful assist to us in going forward. I'm a little bit troubled that the recommended developer A had the most intense plans for the site and therefore would have to be backed away the most. B, while they say that they have acquired the property next door, apparently it's not quite final yet. And I think that that land could be sold to somebody else. And important to me is the fact that they have not successfully negotiated a labor peace agreement. And for me, going forward with a partner in this is going to require a lot of trust. We have a lot on the line here, and the community's made it very clear how much they value Bergamot and don't want us to do the wrong thing. I want to work with somebody I can trust, and I have been quite clear through the city manager and city staff in advising all three of these applicants to the ENA how important their ability to negotiate with the union, the community, the council, and anybody else, the gallerists, the museum, how important that was to us. And the fact that the 26 TOD failed to execute a complete labor peace agreement, and the Worth Group did, tells me something important to me. And so I find myself at this point leaning toward a somewhat scaled down project with a committee and going with the Worth Group. And I'd like to hear the thinking of the rest of my colleagues before I think it's appropriate to make a motion on that, but that's where I come from and why.